Hey guys, so today we're going to go over something that doing a deep dive on the internet can be very misleading and confusing, and that is going over AR-15s with either a direct impingement gas system or with a short stroke gas system. I'm going to take them apart, show you how they work, some special considerations, and ultimately which one I think as a soldier is better for home defense and field use and why. To get started with the assembly, I'm just going to go one more time, check clear, and check clear. Okay. All right. So I also think it's a good idea to have some kind of little punch, pin, assist, whatever you want to call it, in the hand, in the grip, if possible. The mag pull is nice because it allows that little extra storage compartment. All right, I've already taken the hand guards off just to save a little bit of time and make it a little bit easier to show. All right, so I'm gonna get my hands out. Okay, so we'll start with taking apart the short stroke gas piston. All right, so up, pull that, catch bolt carrier on the way out, and now we'll take care of the direct impingement. Okay, so that you can see the two look very, very similar. Really, the only difference in them is going to be at the direct impingement, you have the gas key that's right up here, and on the short stroke gas piston, you just have this flat surface right there that the piston is going to ram essentially and push that back. So the direct impingement system is definitely more common. Okay, bullet goes through the barrel. Once it clears the gas tube, then gas will come up here through the tube into the receiver right there. Okay, you can see the end of the gas tube. By the way, that's not burn marks, that's paint. Okay, and then that gas bleeds directly into the gas key right here. All right, so in doing so, it's a pretty smooth operation because you have a lot less mass reciprocating, or you have some less mass reciprocating. I'll get into that a little bit later. All right, but the problem with that is that when you get all of that gas bleeding directly into the upper receiver, it's going to get into your chamber, it's going to get all over your bolt carrier group, it's going to get into your bolt, and that's where you really start to have a lot of malfunctions on the AR-15 platform. Is once that gets all gunked up, it's really time for cleaning in order to make the thing operable again. Okay, so on the short stroke gas piston, right here you have your gas port in your barrel, and the gas will come up in through here into this little tube right here, but then instead of going all the way through into the receiver, it just actuates this piston right here. Now, a short stroke gas piston is a gas piston system that does not have the piston follow the bolt carrier. Okay, this is detached. On a long stroke gas piston, you have, or a long stroke gas piston system similar to an AK, this would actually be built onto the bolt carrier group. Okay, so short stroke is just a quick movement. Now keep in mind, this is happening super fast. All right, this is not the speed that I'm moving that with my hand. All right, that knocks into this flat part right here, that sends the bolt carrier group back into the buffer tube where it hits the recoil spring and then seats back forward. Okay, so the big advantage to this system is that the gases are not bled or vented directly into the upper receiver and into the bolt carrier group and into the bolt and whatnot. So the first time that I had taken this out for a field test, I had absolutely no malfunctions with it, and I shot about 300 rounds. When I brought it back home to clean, and I cleaned it and I disassembled it and whatnot, it looked like it had not even been fired, or maybe had a couple of shots through it just to do a function check. So as you may know, or maybe not, the direct impingement systems get super dirty super fast and are very, very prone to fouling up after a couple hundred rounds without a good thorough cleaning, thorough oiling, greasing and whatnot. Whereas this guy, I feel like I could have gone for several hundred more rounds before it actually got dirty to the point where I would have to clean it in order for the gun to cycle. All right. And it's also worth mentioning that the gases that were bled forward of this little gas tube that actuates the piston were very, very minimal. Like, you had a little bit of carbon buildup around here, and I mean very, very little. It was just, you know, I took the brush to it and then wiped it off and it was totally fine. Really nothing to write home about, nothing that I was concerned about. Okay, so let's show breaking down the bolt carriers. All right. Up. Here you go for the short stroke gas piston. Now for the direct impingement. Up. So that is definitely something that's nice, is that you don't have any proprietary parts. These all take the exact same bolts. All right, everything is compatible. So as far as parts, you really don't have to worry about that. One thing that I would like to express is that I feel like fixing the gas key in the field would be a little bit more difficult than this system, the short stroke piston, because I really don't see this failing at all. It's built into it. It's a single piece of metal that this is all milled out of. All right, and again, this is the Adams arms. I would put a lot of confidence in this system, even not having done a super torture test, but just the direct impingement and this side by side. I feel like this is going to keep going for a very long time in between cleanings, and nothing that I would worry about. All right, so now we'll get into the reassembly. And one thing is interesting is it's a little bit easier to get the short stroke system together because you don't have to worry about getting the gas key cleared when you're putting the bolt back in. All right. All right, it's back together. Getting around this gas key is just a little bit of a pain sometimes. Not that it's a deal breaker, but it's just an interesting little thing to me. All right. Okay. All right, and then we can put the both of them together. Up. DI. Up. Okay, clear. All right. Okay. Okay. So, putting them together, taking them apart is essentially the exact same breakdown process, and that definitely makes it a little bit easier to manage. Less learning curve. So a couple things to take into consideration. One is the weight of the system itself, right? The direct impingement is a little bit lighter, but you're really only talking by about probably 2 or 3 ounces. The additional weight of the piston in the piston operated system is so negligible that it really, for me, it doesn't make a difference. It's not perceived unless you put it on a scale, even if you were going to be carrying these things for miles and miles, right? Another thing to consider is accuracy. So I have not done a direct comparison between these two rifles, and also it wouldn't really be a fair comparison because my direct impingement is on a 12.5-inch barrel that's pinned and welded. My piston system is on a 16-inch barrel. This one is also a carbine length gas system. This one is a mid-length gas system. So it really wouldn't be a fair comparison, but I can definitely tell you that I have not taken this one out to extreme distances yet. I've kept it at about 100 meters so far, and it does just fine, obviously. This one I have taken out to about 400 yards so far, and I can hit targets absolutely no problem. For me, as a soldier, I prefer functionality over precision, okay? So with that in consideration, the amount of fouling that I get from shooting this thing, the number of shots that I can take between cleanings, and I'm always surprised when I open it up and the bolt and the bolt carrier still have grease on them, because that all gets blown away on a direct impingement system. I have not put the piston system or even this direct impingement system through a lot of abuse, but I can tell you that the reliability in how clean they stay, I would trust the piston system over the direct impingement. Take that as you wish. Your mileage may vary. If I can smack targets at 400 yards with this thing, no problem, and I know that it's going to work every time, and I'm not going to have excessive fouling. Even when you shoot this thing, the bolt stays relatively cold, which is incredible. So that's my final thoughts as a soldier, as somebody who's carried guns for very, very long distances, and I want to make sure that 100% of the time that I pull the trigger, they are going to work. And as I go magazine after magazine after magazine, they are still going to work, and I don't have to worry about, shoot, I got to take my gun apart soon to clean it. This is what I'm going for, the piston system. As far as a home defense gun, I think either one of them is going to be perfectly adequate. Most of your AR-15s are going to come with a direct impingement system, not the gas piston. So from an entry standpoint, it can be easier to get the direct impingement right off the bat because that's going to come standard in your gun. And by all means, don't feel you need to change that right off the bat, because it is going to do fine for 99.9% of the shooting that anybody is going to do. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. If you've learned something here, or if you think that my takes are interesting, feel free to leave me a comment, let me know what you think about this, and subscribe for any future videos. And if you really can't make up your mind, there's always the other option. You can get both of them. Have a great day.